And I think it's what he's saying to us. Don't blame me for all the stuff in the world. But don't blame me for not stopping all the stuff in the world. Because bad stuff happens. I'm a good God, even though I don't stop bad things. You see, not stopping bad things does not make God less than a good God. It's one of the great arguments you'll hear from people. If God was so good, there wouldn't be little hungry kids in Africa. It's because we don't understand the nature of God's goodness. Maybe we're supposed to be doing something about the hungry kid in Africa. Maybe it's not God who's supposed to stop it. Maybe it's us not supposed to come in drunk. You see the point? Drunkenness has nothing to do with the starving kid in Africa, but the story applies. Maybe it's not that God's supposed to stop the fire from hitting Nadab and Abihu. Maybe we're supposed to come in full of the Spirit. What's Paul say about drunkenness? Be ye not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be ye filled with the Spirit. Why does he make that equation? Because when he says drunkenness, he says be not drunk with wine wherein is abandonment. Dissipation is the Greek word. Wherein you give up who you are and then stuff happens. Rather be full of the Spirit so that you're clear-headed so that you know who you are. Again, it's not a text about drunkenness. It's a text about consequences and the fact that God doesn't stop all of our consequences. And it doesn't make him less than a good God. He's still a good God. In fact, we ought to be presenting him as a good God in spite of all of people's consequences. Maybe we can help people avoid their consequences. That was God's role of even talking to Aaron, was to say, this is why this happened. It doesn't have to happen. You've got more kids and you got nephews and all of you are serving. It doesn't have to happen again. And so go out and glorify me in front of the world. Here's another one. And all I did on this was just paragraph it out. Didn't go to the text. In Numbers 20, Moses had his own moment of failure in how he presented God to Israel. He was instructed to speak to the rock to bring forth water. But in his anger with the people, he struck the rock twice. This costs Moses entrance to the promised land. The first time God brought water from the rock, he smote it, just as Christ, the rock, would be smitten at the cross, and living water would flow out of him. Once smitten, Jesus never needs to die again. When Moses smote the rock instead of speaking to it, he made it look as if God did not want to give Israel water. Never make God look reluctant in front of people. And God said to Moses, because you did, this is an old King James word, because you did not sanctify me in front of the people, you shall not enter the promised land. In other words, because you didn't make me look holy, because you didn't make me look good, you're not going to rest. And that's Moses. He's the best the old covenant has. All you had to do was speak to the rock. Don't hit it twice, because the rock is my son. That's what Paul says in Corinthians. The rock was Christ. He dies one time. He's good for good. He's good for good. He's good forever. He's died for you and the living water flows. You don't have to re-crucify yourself on the cross. You have to re-crucify my son. You don't have to hang yourself with works and performance. All you have to do is, that's why Paul says, the word of faith which we speak in Romans 10. If a man confess with his mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in his heart that God hath raised him, that's the word of faith which we speak. Word of faith got a real bad knock in a lot of circles because it got hijacked by a certain quarter of Pentecostal charismatic teaching. But the phrase word of faith simply means my faith is so big I have to proclaim it with my mouth and I say what I believe. I don't need to re-crucify Jesus. I just need to stand on what Jesus has done. Moses gets mad. Boom. I think this is interesting in Numbers 20. When he hits the rock, nothing happens. He has to hit it again. That nothing happening is the goodness of God, by the way. That's mercy. When Moses hits it and nothing happens, that's God going, sure you want to do that? Told you to talk to it. My mercy. Oh, you're going to do it again. Pop. Okay, you get the water. But you made me look like I didn't want to bless my people. You made me look mad at my people. I don't want to get home and the Father say to me, why'd you make me so angry at people? Why'd you have me so ticked off all the time? Why did you make people think I didn't like them and didn't accept them? And I know, conversely, our critics go, yeah, but what if you get to heaven and God goes, why did you tell people they were okay? No, I don't think that's what it sounds like. I think it would have to sound like this. I think it would have to be God going, why did you tell people I was that good? You made me sound too good, son. You made me sound too loving. You made me sound too forgiving. I never see God do that in the text anywhere. There's never a moment where God said, you guys thought I was forgiving, but gosh, you're wrong. You thought I was good, but you're wrong. I do see you thought I was this, but I'm not. You thought I was bad, but I'm not. You thought I was angry, but I'm not. You thought I was judgmental. We've missed him. We're a nation of priests. We get to reflect God. So how are you reflecting him? Aaron, I know it's a dark day, buddy. Your boys didn't take who they were serious. They played around, and I tried to protect them from playing around, because playing around gets you in trouble, and they died. I don't want you to come to me with mourning. Don't eat that meat unless you can eat it with joy. Now, when you go out, reflect me in front of the people. And I think that's what we have to do. Let's go reflect the Father. I titled it Making God Look Good, not because I presume that I can, but because I presume that that's the mantle we should be picking up. Let's make God look good. It's not hard to do. It's easy to make God look bad because it's kind of in our heart. And this is an area we need to lay down before him. But it's too often in our heart that we wish people would get what's coming to them, or that they would get something that'll teach them, rather than that they would get mercy and that they would get grace. Let's make God look good. It's not hard to do. He is good. He loves people.